Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie and let's get started. And today we're doing some more Christmas gingerbread DIYs, of course. For DIY number 1, my sweet friend Norma gifted me some of these Gumball machine looking cookie jars from the dollar spot at the Target, and it was $3. She gifted me quite a few so I can gift to my grandkids, and I kept this one to DIY. Now here I grabbed an assortment of gingerbread man cookie cutters to see if they fit in here. I was going to make a bunch of cookies to put inside, of course fake. So here I'm going to use some of this modelmagic. I got this from Amazon and they come in these natural earthy colors. So it's like a black and like a terracotta. This one's a brown, and I think there's like a natural beige one. So I'm going to use this brown one, and this modelmagic is very similar to foam clay, and I'm just going to pull a nice bunch of it to use. So here I'm just going to condition it some, put away the rest for another time. We do end up using this whole bag, spoiler alert. So I'm going to place a piece of parchment paper down just to make the whole process easier, and it won't stick as much as it will on my cutting mat. So I'm just going to roll it with this acrylic roller, kind of make it not too thin. I say about a 1/4 inch thickness or so. And I'm just going to turn it, and I'm just going to use these cookie cutters to cut out some of the gingerbread men. So here I'm just going to pull off the excess clay gently, place it down, and then I'll go ahead and cut some more, as many as I can, and then I'll very gently remove them from the cookie cutters. Now this part here, I have to be very careful because my nails have grown again, so they're long, and I always end up making like little dents in my cookies and my gingerbread clay cookies with my nails. I have to be really careful and kind of fix everything a little bit. So yeah, so here's my bigger one, and then here are my other ones, and again just very carefully push them through with my fingers, try not to get my nails in there, and of course I do. It is what it is. Just have to do a little patchwork, a little fixing up, just kind of squeeze it and form it. It's not bad. It's clay. It's forgiving, thank goodness. Now with the rest of this dough that I've already conditioned, I have this little Oreo cookie silicone mold, and I'm just going to do little bits and press them inside this mold to make some Oreo cookies. Now these Oreo cookies, they're actually easier to make with regular air dry clay, but this modelmagic works just fine. Just have to be extra gentle. So here I'm just going to be real gentle to remove this little cookie. Looking good. And I'll go ahead and make some more because I want to make several. I'm going to make 4 total, so I have to make 8 cookies. Now here are all my cookies. I'm going to place the Oreo ones on top, get them to dry up. The ones on the bottom, they're pretty much dry, so I'm going to go ahead and use my Puffy paint to make the little faces and the embellishments. They're just simple little faces and the little zigzags on the arms and on the legs. These are just going to be classic gingerbread cookies. Well, made out of clay, of course. So here's some more little zigzags and little buttons, of course. Here is my last one. Just making them super cute. And of course, you could make them however you like, whatever kind of design you like. You don't have to use the same things I use, of course. Okay, so now here my Oreo cookies are dry. I'm going to take some of this foam stuff that I had lying around, and I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm just going to round off the ends. I'm going to use this as filling because I want to make these Oreo cookies nice and thick, like double stuff. So I want to make them real decadent looking, so I'm just going to use some of this foam to help fill it up, and I'm going to use some hot glue to adhere this onto the cookie, And of course, some more hot glue to adhere the other piece on top of the foam, like this. And then I go ahead and do all 4 of them in this manner until I have them all done. Now here they are. Here's the last one. All done. Now I'm going to take my puffy paint and fill in all the gaps on the sides. It's just a little trick, a little hack. You don't have to have the spackle. You could use a spackle, of course. But if you don't want to mess with a spackle or you don't want to buy it and you have puffy paint, you could do it like this. And it works great. They look nice and full. I'm just going to do a little line here just to get it more full. And look how delicious it looks. Now here's my last one, getting it nice and full, setting them aside, allowing them to dry. Now here is my cookie jar. I was going to leave it white and do it like red and white, but then I decided, no, I want to make this into gingerbread also. So here I'm going in with my nutmeg brown and my little dapper sponge brush, just to give it a little bit of texture, the illusion of texture. And then I'm going to use some of the Mod Podge to seal it up. Everything looks great. And now I'm going to go in with my puffy paint. And I'm going to do little drips on the very top of the lid. Or should I say on the very edge of the lid. I'm going to do little drips, go all the way around. I'm going to do some teeny tiny ones and some a little longer ones, just to add more interest. And I'm just going to take my time going around till I'm done right here. Then I go ahead and do a little bit on the little top, same thing. And then I decide to do a little circle around the very top, just again for more interest. Just going around, just taking my time, turning it, being careful not to touch any of the wet puffy paint. Everything is still wet. So like this, just to give it a design. And then I go ahead and do the area where the glass meets the bottom part, same thing. And then at the very base as well, same thing, just go around. And of course, taking my time, trying not to touch any of this paint. What a disaster that would be. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some puffy paint to the little button looking things. It's like little button accents on this cookie jar. And I'm adding this paint because I'm going to use this to adhere some polymer clay peppermints. So I'm just going to add the puffy paint, let it get a little tacky. That way it don't fall off easily. Now here are my little polymer clay peppermints. And I'm just going to press them on gently. Trying to be very careful because everything is still wet. Now, ooh, if I drop one, what a disaster that would be. So here's my last one. Press it in. And this just gives it, again, more interest. And I just love to embellish these things. So now I decided to do a 25 on the base. It does have a 25 on there, but it is painted with the brown. So I'm going to kind of outline it to just bring it back out. And I'm trying to be very careful because, again, I can mess this up easily. Okay, so it's looking like this. Everything's nice and dry now. Now on Amazon, I found these gingerbread man lollipops, and they come in different flavors. They come in strawberry and watermelon flavors. So how about that? They're not gingerbread flavors, but they're packed so well. Look at this. My goodness. I was impressed. Okay, so now this jar is super deep. So I thought, okay, that's not going to work. So I'm going to take this Amazon mailer and I'm just going to tear it open and I'm going to flip it inside out and kind of mush it inside just for filler. I did think about using a piece of styrofoam to kind of stick it in there, but then I thought, well, it's going to be kind of difficult to get it in just right because it's a little narrow on the top and a little bit more wide on the bottom. So I felt like using this mailer, and you can recycle it too, so it's great. So I'm just going to use this mailer instead, and I'm going to put all my little lollipops like on the side of the mailer, going all the way around, just to make it look nice and full. And the clay cookies you'll see in the next DIY. Now I'm just going to place the lid on top And with some of the ribbon that my sweet friend Norma gave me, I made a little bow with some long tails to place on the very top of the lid. And that is it for this one. Look how yummy and adorable that looks. This is how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 2, at Target, I found this oven, this little play oven at the dollar spot. It's $5. It's plastic. And here I thought, okay, it's already red and white. This is going to be easy peasy. Am I going to leave it easy peasy? No. No. I thought about it. So here I'm just removing all the plastic and removing all the insides. Oh, I'm showing you that it lights up. So it's got all these little play foods and some tongs and a little tray. So it's super cute. So like I mentioned originally, I thought, okay, I'll just do red and white. So I'm going to take some of this white paint from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to paint these strawberry looking dials. And I'm just going to paint them up real quick. And then as I'm getting done, I thought, wait a minute, I want to turn this into gingerbread too. Oh my goodness. So here we go. So I let this dry, and this is when I figured, okay, let me take my nutmeg brown and go ahead and paint it up. So I painted it to this point, and then I decided, okay, I need to paint the inside, but I don't want to paint the little door because it's cute. So I'm just going to tape it up with some painter's tape, and I did tape up the digital display that's right above it. You can tell. So here my door is nice and painted. I'm going to take this brown paint that I had from Rust-Oleum. It's an espresso, and I took it outside, painted it all up, and I thought, no, the outside is just too dark. I tried, guys. I tried to use a different brown. It's just too dark. I'll leave this dark brown on the inside because it's an oven, and yeah, you know, it's probably used up and kind of dark in there. But for the outside, going back in with my good old trusty nutmeg brown. And of course, you guys can use whatever color you want. Just because I use this color doesn't mean you guys have to use the same color. There's plenty of choices out there. So here it is, nice and dry, looking great. Now I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm just going to remove all this painter's tape to reveal my little oven door. Looking great. So now I'm going to take my puffy paint and make some drips as well. I want this to be a little matching set. So here we go. I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, here I'm going to remove this piece of painter's tape. And sure enough, it does remove a little bit of the paint. I was like, oh no. But we'll fix that with puffy paint. No worries. There's always ways of fixing things. So here I go with my little puffy paint, making some drips. I have more area here, so I can make some drips a little longer, and then the little short ones, and make some little longer ones. And it just makes it a real pretty design, I think. Now here I did all the edges on the top, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add some of the puffy paint to this display where you can see that the paint kind of lifted. And I'm just gonna add that on there. You wouldn't be able to tell that I had a little oopsie there. We'll just cover it up like that, make it look like it's part of the design. And then I just take my time and continue to embellish this whole piece until I get it to this point. I don't do anything with the top because the top is going to have some batteries. So here I'm going to take some of these plastic peppermints, and I'm going to take some more of the puffy paint, and I'm going to very carefully place them on the dials. Try to be real careful because this paint is not, I didn't let it sit to get tacky like I did the Gumball machine cookie jar. So I just have to keep an eye on those dials, make sure they don't fall down, because that would be a disaster. So I just let those dry up. Now here it is, all nice and dry. Now I'm going to open up the battery compartment, add my 2 AAA batteries to this, make sure it works, turn it on, and yes, look, it's a cute little light inside. So cute. Here's a little tray, it's going to match the inside. And then the tongs, I just put some baker's twine around it. And then here are my cookies that I made in DIY number 1. They fit just fine for this DIY. And then my Oreo cookies I will use in next week's video. You'll see them then. And here's how they look and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 3, I'm going to take some more of this modelmagic clay. I'm going to take a nice good piece and I'm going to condition it. And I'm going to place it on my parchment paper again and taking my acrylic roller, rolling it out. I roll this one out about the same thickness, maybe a little less, maybe 1/8 of an inch thickness on this one. Yeah, I think so. And I couldn't find my round cookie cutter, so I'm going to use the round top of the sour cream container. Hey, sometimes you have to improvise. So here I go. I kind of press it down, make the indentation, and I'm going to use this little tool from the Dollar Tree for clay to help remove the rest, but I really didn't need it. I just kind of pulled it off and it came up just fine. Came off pretty easily. So here, just removing this. Now, one thing about this kind of clay, if you let it touch itself, it's going to get stuck. Yeah, so just be careful with that. So here I'm just going to pat all of the edges down underneath, get everything nice and round and smooth. So here's one. Now go ahead and do the same thing with the other piece. Make one more. And here is my container. Make another round. Hey, it works. We do what we can. Okay, so here I'm removing the excess. And again, kind of patting everything nice and smooth. Trying to pat it underneath so you won't really see it. And just taking my time like this. Now here they are, nice and dry. So now I'm going to take some of these tongue depressor looking craft sticks and paint them up with some of the nutmeg brown. And I'm going to adhere these lollipops onto these sticks with just some hot glue. So I'll just do a nice good glob of it and placing it down on the craft stick. And of course do the same thing to the other one, trying to make sure everything's nice and level. I still have to paint these. So just place it like this. Now I'm going to take some of my puffy paint. And you can use whatever puffy paint you want. Or you can use spackle. Or you can use whatever. And I'm just going to create a little hairline. Give this one a little hairline. This one's going to be a little boy. So it's just going to be a cute style. Fill it in with the puffy paint. And I'm going to give it a sweet little face. Just something simple. Just 2 little eyes, little nose, and little mouth with smile lines. And now to take advantage of this puffy paint, I'm going to use some of my sprinkles that I got from Amazon, I think 2 years ago. So I still have plenty. I'll probably have sprinkles for the rest of my life with this pack. And I'm going to use some red and I'm going to use some green for his hair. And then for the little girl, I'm going to give her a little hairline, a little bit longer hair. Well, I'll do that face first. And then I'll do the hair. Just something a little longer. Make her look like a little girl. And fill it all in with the puffy paint. Get it nice and thick. Like this. And then use some of my sprinkles. This one, there's a pre-mix here of red, white, and pink. So I'll just use those. I think I dropped one on the face somewhere, so I'm using my little tweezers. And just go ahead and fill up her little hair. Just giving her a little feminine touch. And just making her super sweet. And of course, utilizing my tweezers just for precision. Just to get the sprinkles just right. So once I'm happy with this, then I'm going to use my puffy paint again. And I'm going to do a little embellishing on the craft sticks. For the boy, I'm just going to use some swirly lines. I'll just start with some teeny tiny little swirly lines on the sides. And then I make them a little bit bigger as I go down. Actually, I go up. like this. And then I do little dots all the way down. And for the little girl, I do little scallops. Just some sweet little scallops going all the way down and on both sides. And then some little dots to go in the middle as well. And then just for extra embellishments, I made another little bow with that same ribbon that my sweet friend Norma gave me. And I'm going to place that for the little girl on her head. Just to make it look like she's a little girl. A little bit of hot glue. And just place it on top like this. Now here they are, all nice and dry. Remove them from the parchment paper. And look how adorable. This is how they look, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 4, I'm going to take some of these little spools that I had in my stash. I got these from Amazon. I'm just taking a handful, and some of these beads from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to paint them all up and use my favorite Nutmeg Brown paint by Apple Barrel. Just paint them up real quick. Now I'm going to use some of these little pieces of remnant fabric that I had. These basically is trash, but you guys know I save everything. So I'm just take these little pieces and I'm going to cut them down even smaller because I'm going to fill these little spools with some of these fabrics. So just teeny tiny little pieces just to make it look super cute. And the little fringe that's on the one end, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to make it look even more older and antique-like, vintage. So I'm just going to adhere everything with some hot glue with my detail hot glue gun. Press everything down nice and tight. Add another little dab of hot glue. Make sure all my ends are nice and secure. And look how adorable this sweet little spool. And I go ahead and do the same thing to the rest of them. Now some of these I had a lot of that fringe that kind of fell apart, those threads. So I went ahead and did 2 with those threads. And oh my goodness, they came out so adorable. I'm about to show you right here. Look how cute. Look how adorable. Oh my goodness, see just these here. It's supposed to be trash, but hey. Gotta make it cute. Okay, so now for my jute twine, I went through my stash and I found a few of these from the Dollar Tree with the little like shoelace ends on it. And I thought, oh, these are perfect to string these beads and little spools because those plastic ends are like makeshift needles and they're perfect size. So yeah, if you have some of these saved from Dollar Tree signs, now you know what to use them for. They just work great. Okay, now here are my 2 strands of beads. And I'm just going to tie them in a good double knot to create an ornament. And with the ends, oh, here's the second one. Tie it up real quick. And I'll show you with the ends, since they're plastic, I'm just going to string them back through the beads. That way you can't find the ends. And it won't be looking messy. It'll be nice and neat. Here's the other one. Poke it right through. Fits perfectly. Gotta finagle the bead a little bit to get it to go through, but it works. This one here, for some reason, it was a little thicker, but that's okay. I pressed this one pretty hard to get it in there. This other one would not go in. So with the help of a little piece of wood that I had nearby, just kind of used it like a thimble. I kind of just pushed it in and just moved my bead for it to go all the way in. Now I'm going to take some more jute twine, and these are just regular pieces of jute twine for my little hangers. They're just little loops, and I will loop them through for the hangers for these ornaments like this. And then for embellishments, I went into my Dollar Tree lace stash and made some 2 tiny little bows, and just with a little bit of hot glue placed them on top. I feel like this kind of went well with the vintage look. And then in my stash from last year, I had these 2 little gingies left over, and these are from Amazon. They come on these sticks, and I just take a sharp blade and remove the sticks, paint them up, and these fit perfectly in here. So I'm going to do a little bit of hot glue on both feet and on the head, and kind of place the feet on the beads and the head in the middle on the jute twine knot. And then do the same thing to the second one. These I will not give any faces. I'm just going to leave them kind of vintagey. And then of course I have to get rid of the fuzzies, so I just do that real quick with my little lighter. And that is it. This is how they look, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 5, I'm going to use the last of this Model Magic that I have. It's just another chunk of it. And so I'm just going to take that, and I'm going to create 2 little trinket trays with this. And then use up all this Model Magic. I don't want it to get tough on me. So I'll just do a little conditioning and then roll it out on my parchment paper like the other ones. And try to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to use a larger cookie cutter that I had. I have not used it in this video yet, so this is a pretty good size one. So I'm trying to make this wide enough. So see, I'm going to use this big old daddy right here. Press them down. And then pick up my parchment paper. And then just trying to be careful, make sure that this Model Magic doesn't touch the actual cookie cutter. And of course, it's going to be hard to remove because I've got long nails. But I do my best. Pull it out. Kind of fix it up a little bit. Where I kind of messed it up a little bit. But no, it looks cute. Now I'm going to take some of this Model Magic and I'm going to kind of roll it in my hands to make like a long tube. And I'm going to use some of this to create a border for this cookie because it's going to be a little trinket tray. So I'm going to start at the bottom. Try to make it a little thinner. It was a little bit too thick. And I'm just going to go around, just trying to be careful. And then of course it does end up touching itself here and there. So I'm having to fix that. Oh my goodness, this is just too long, I guess. But I'm just doing the best I can to go all the way around and try to smooth everything out as I'm going around. So see, and then just contour it a little bit to the shape. And then I finally get to the end, yay! And press it down and just smooth it out with my finger. And so this one's going to look like this with a little border, just something a little different. And then I go ahead and take the rest of the Model Magic, and instead of putting it away, I decided to make one more. This one is just going to be a flat, like a regular flat one, just like the cookie cutter shape. So I'm just going to roll it out, smooth it out, get it nice and wide, try to make it wide enough for the cookie cutter because I wanted to make one more in a similar size. It won't be exact size because it won't have the border, but it'll be close enough. So just kind of work with it here, lifting it, turning it until I get it the right size. This one's going to be obviously a lot thinner, but that's okay, it works. So here, just press down and then pick it up gently, remove all the excess. And then this one I do end up leaving in the cookie cutter for a little bit because it's pretty thin. I didn't want to mess it up, so I waited for that to dry in the cookie cutter. So now here they are, nice and dry. Here is this one here, and this one now I can remove from the cookie cutter, and it comes out a lot easier. I think I do mess it up like a teeny tiny bit because it's not completely dry. It's almost dry, but it's not bad. So it still looks cute. So now I'm going to take my puffy paint and just do some little faces. And I'm just going to do 2 little eyes, little nose, little mouth. It's really simple. And then I'm going to do just the buttons. And then for the other one, I do the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the buttons, and I do the zigzags as well on the arms and on the legs. Just real quick. I think I got an air bubble right here, so I had to go back and fix it. No worries. One more little zigzag and then the little buttons. And then I'll just allow all this to dry on its own. Here they are, nice and dry. Now I'm going to take some of this triple thick glaze that I got from Amazon. And I'm just going to use my brush and brush it all on there. best I can. And for the second one, I wanted to use some of the UV resin that I got from Amazon as well. And I'm just going to outline my little gingy guy all the way around and then fill it in, of course. So here it's all filled in. It's hard to tell here, but it's all filled in. And now to get it to dry quickly and cure, I'm going to use my little UV light that I use for my fingernails. Now here they are, nice and dry and cured. Looking great. But I do think I like the resin one better. Now with that same fabric that I have little pieces of, I made a bow tie for the little boy. And I made a hair bow tie for the little girl. And that is it. Super cute. Here's how they look and a closer look at the final reveal. If you're on Instagram, here's my QR code. I invite you to scan it and come follow me on there. I post on there Monday through Fridays, as well as TikTok. Here's my QR code for there. Here is my QR code for Facebook, also Monday through Fridays, as well as my Pinterest. Here's my QR code for there. And here's my Lemonade account as well. And my Threads account. This is my handle, also Monday through Fridays. Here's my Hometalk QR code. I invite you to come scan it. Post on there twice a month. I do have a Facebook crafting group. I invite you to come join us there. And now we're at the final reveal. Let me know what you think and which one is your favorite one. While I take a moment and say thank you for taking time out of your busy day and watching my video, I also want to thank Norma for gifting me such fantastic crafting supplies. I only used just a few of the many she gave me, and I'm just looking forward to using some more during the rest of this year, as well as some items that my sweet friend Diane gave me as well, and my sweet friend Toni. I'm so blessed. Really I am. My goodness, these are just fantastic, generous ladies. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun creating for it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. It really does help my channel to grow. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. Another video is coming next week for gingerbread DIYs, Christmas in July. And until my next video, stay healthy, safe, and strong, and have a great day. Bye-bye.